All right, it could happen. The president and China's Xi Jinping reportedly will sign an interim trade deal on November 17th. Edward Lawrence has the details on that. What are you learning, Edward?
Well, Neil, that's what the South China Morning Post is reporting, that November 17th is tentatively the date they're going to sign this phase one agreement. However, the White House saying that may not necessarily be the case. And all they will say, though, is that the administration is pushing forward to get that phase one deal down on paper as quickly as possible. You heard the president say it is ahead of schedule. Now, to do that, the Chinese are changing right now their laws and regulations. In fact, today, the Chinese State Council policy briefing today, the director of intellectual property office for the Chinese says that they are going to have strict protections of companies' intellectual property. He says the Chinese are taking these 4 actions. First, they are establishing a punitive damage system for patent and trademark infringement that triples the cost of damages. Second, establishing a deeper connection between administrative law enforcement and criminal justice. Now, according to the Chinese, that will allow more channels for dispute resolution. Next, the State Council pledges to significantly speed up the process to get patents and trademarks issued. Fourth, the same intellectual property protections applied to Chinese companies will also apply to foreign companies. Now, as these changes are being made, China looks for possibly some quid pro quo from the United States. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson pushing back on the fact that the FCC wants to have the rural telecommunications companies rip out basically Huawei and ZTE information or equipment being used there as part of national security concerns. Here, listen.
The economic bullying behavior of the U.S. is a denial of the market economy principle that the U.S. has always advertised, and it will not be recognized and supported by the international community.
Now, Huawei is not part of this phase one deal, but what is the entire section talking about protecting intellectual property rights for companies. That is at the core for American companies. Also, this administration, they want to see and make sure that happens, as well as enforcement inside this agreement. Again, they are putting that down on paper, as the president says, ahead of schedule. Neil?
All right, Edward Lawrence, thank you very, very much. I misspoke that that signing, if it is to pass, would be next month, not months from now.